to
Hello.
Unstructured and
Yeah.
Unsupervised. I'm Katrina Reese.
And I'm Nicole Narayan.
Yeah,
It's
and
so
I'm.
nice to see you again, my lovely friend. I mean, not that we
It
don't
is.
talk to each other. We're like talking to each other as if we don't talk to each other all the time.
How
But
are
it's so nice
you?
to see you
Oh
again.
my gosh, you know what I just noticed? And this was not done on purpose, but the bottom of your curtain is right at the bottom of this curtain here,
Oh,
and the
lovely.
color underneath your curtain is like one of the colors that's up here in my
Wow.
art.
Upside down world.
Upside down, inside out.
That's
I don't know
good.
what the
That I
name of
don't.
that dance would be, but
It would be
uh,
called a happy accident. That's the name of the
the
dance, and
happy
that's the
accident.
happy accident.
How are you?
Yeah.
It's just like, are you running, but you're just like looking the wrong directions? I feel like that's what it is.
Like there's a wall.
There's a lot going on here. um,
Um,
I was talking to my friend
okay.
Mandy before this, and she said
Yeah.
that I sounded like Robin Williams on cocaine. She was like, "How much ADHD? How much Adderall are you taking right now?" I was like, "Actually, that reminds me. I took Vyvanse this morning, but I might be out of it now that it's like 7 o'clock and or whatever the time now. And I didn't take my Adderall booster today, so I'm talking really fast. And I was talking about interior design scheme. I'm talking about
I actually keep up, I think, faster when somebody's talking that fast.
really.
When it comes to certain things, like I could hear, like if you're going really fast about something, I'll be like, okay, but if you're
You were
talking at a
like batteries
very
not
slow,
included, right? Got it.
yeah, like I got it. But like when it comes to numbers, it's like certain things you need to talk so slow for me for when it comes to numbers. I'm like, okay. But like if you're talking really fast about something, like
One,
yeah, one, a
two,
two, a
three,
three.
three. I say that a lot. I quote that commercial a lot.
Me too.
That I also quote. Have you must have heard me say this by this point. Oh, and I should probably start a timer, right? But the timer's right here by this
Yeah,
way. That's a flogging Lulu.
I don't know that one.
Okay, so when I was growing up, I thought that the phrase "abso-flogging-lutely" in the movie Hook, I thought Smee was saying that's a flogging Lulu, and I didn't have closed
Ah,
captions. So I always thought he said that's a flogging Lulu, but he was saying "abso-flogging-lutely," but with an
F.
accent. And so
Uh-huh.
I rewatched Hook like last year sometime on Netflix, and I
I
had the
quote
captions
that.
on, and I was like, "That's what he's saying."
Oh.
But I say that's a flogging Lulu, and people ask me, what? And I say, well, in the movie Hook, Smee says that's a flogging Lulu whenever he means like, I agree, and that's a great idea. It seems like that's when he's agreeing with Captain Hook. But
Right.
and of course it does because he's saying abso-flogging-lutely.
Absolutely.
So I
I
made
love.
up my own phrase.
Well, that's even better. I like it better that way. Flogging
Yeah.
Lulu. I quote that movie a lot, Hook. Like, I'll randomly in the middle of the day be like, Rufio, Rufio,
What?
Rufio. Oh.
But for what purpose? Just anything?
Sometimes when I just need to give myself
You're trying to like pump yourself
I
up?
want, yeah, like I
Rufio,
need a
Rufio,
of,
Rufio.
like you're doing it, Peter, you're
Oh yeah,
doing
you
it.
say that. Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
think I sent you a gif
I
of
say
that.
that a lot. Yeah,
Excuse my coughing.
those are my tips from that.
Nice. So you had a
Yep, and
good
I can
day?
grow. Yeah, I had a really good day.
Yeah.
I I thought it was gonna be not a great day because I woke up and I was a little like I got woken up by a text message that was like the bathroom toilet's been like running all night. Can you please check on it? And I was like, I was sleeping, I didn't know. And then I woke up and I got a phone call from my boss, which I was like, oh God, please, is she going to ask me to come into work? I mean, I will, but like I have a whole day planned of stuff that I need to
Yeah.
get done. And now the summer situation is like cutting in between, but it ended up working out fine. She just wanted to check into something. So I was like, okay.
But
And
you were
then
like, ah, like immediately.
I was just like the moment I woke up, it was like, oh my God, I'm getting like, what do I,
What?
where
You're
is
like,
this
how do I
from?
go back to sleep?
Yeah, like what do I need to do? And then I wrote a list, right? Because ADHD
Lists are great.
and my
Checkboxes.
borderline personality stuff is like all over the place. So I've been like, okay, trying to manage what works, manage what doesn't work, paying attention to the things that are good, paying attention to the things that are bad. And I find what works for me is when I have a lot of things to do,
Mm-hmm.
I feel great when I accomplish so much in one day. Like when I make a list
Mm-hmm.
of things to do and I have to get them all done in one day,
Yeah.
it makes me feel so good. I'm like, I'm on top of the world. I can do anything. I when I put my mind to something, like I can make it happen.
Yeah.
And this morning I had to pay a red light ticket. I had to call a school to make sure to see if they got my financial aid to go through. I
Oh, a school?
Yeah, I'm going back to school for massage therapy.
Oh, really?
So I'm trying to find the financial aid department. I left a message with them. They did not call me back yet, so I'm going to call again tomorrow. But
It
I
might be a
put
hard
that as
time, yeah, because like it's right at the beginning of the first semester.
yeah. So it might be a little cuckoo bats right now, but that's okay. I made the phone call. I got my doctor's appointments in order today. I went to the post office. I went to the bank. I paid a
Uh-huh.
bill. I got everything done. And I was like, everything that was on
Okay.
my list of things to do, I got it all done. And I still have a massive amount of energy right now where I don't feel pooped at the end of the day, which is a little concerning after how much I've done that I feel like, why are you not tired yet? But it's like, I just want to keep going. Like,
Well, I
once I
mean,
have a
like you
moment.
were not feeling well recently,
Right.
as was I, and maybe it's just like you're like energized by the fact that you can do stuff right now. So you're like,
Yeah.
oh, let me like get it done. But yeah, like you could also relax in an energetic way, right?
Yeah. Okay. So that's the thing is that I'm relaxing. Like, people's idea of relaxation versus like my idea of relaxation are two totally different things. And I'm learning that for me, being able to relax in the fact that I am a fast-paced person and I do like to get a lot done in a day and I do want to like create
You're a
stuff and
mover
make
and
my
a
day.
groover.
Yeah, mover and a groover. Like, I want to be able to relax in that without somebody trying to slow me down in it. Like, I don't need somebody going, "Hey, relax, slow down." Like, no, that makes me stressed. Like,
You're like,
let
don't
me
tell me
go.
what to
Like,
do.
don't tell me what to do. I
Don't
want to do what I got to
do
do.
it.
Yeah.
You can
And
dance
now,
if you want to. You can leave your. I'm definitely feeling very energetic myself, possibly because I got a negative COVID test today, so I feel good. I'm like, yes, I can go outside. Yes. For those of you who don't know, I had COVID for the third time, and I'm tired of it. So hopefully, this means that I have some kind of super immunity for like 6 months.
I hope so.
I hope so too. But I was like, I still have this residual like asthma related thing, and that sucks. But, anyways, I think maybe that has something to do with it, where it's like, yeah, my body just did this really difficult thing, which is have an immune system.
Right.
So I'm happy about it.
Well, that's good. You look good.
I look good. My skin looks all gone.
Yeah, your skin.
Although I feel like I look very pale. Like,
I
very
don't.
pale.
I don't see you as very pale,
I
but
mean,
I feel like you look really good. I feel like
thank you.
your hair looks It's like it looks like a little wave to it today. I like the length that it's at. I
Oh,
think
thank
you look cute.
you.
Oh, wow.
So, which reminds me that we need to write our roast rap battle song.
Yeah, we have to do that. I was supposed to go against, if you guys are watching, this Sunday at the Alibi, I believe at 7:30. I was supposed to go against Kathy Arnold for a roast battle, a roast rap battle, and
Uh,
I was feeling pretty good about that. And now she, due to I don't really, for some personal issues, she couldn't make it, and I want to I wanted to still do something creatively because I felt like it's been a long time since I've done it. And you and I were originally asked to,
Sorry.
oh, that's okay. You and I were originally asked to do it against one another, but we said,
I'm trying
oh,
to pull
but
up the
we said,
Facebook. I'm trying to do the comments at the same time, and it's not working, so we're not doing it.
oh, okay.
So yes, we were
So
asked. So this was that show.
this was that show, and we were asked to do it, but originally we
I
were
thought it
like,
was.
no,
I
we're
thought it
gonna.
was Steven's show. I thought Steven asked us to do a show, and
He
we were
did,
like,
and Dom did also.
okay,
Dom messaged you privately and then he messaged me privately and was like, and we were both like, we're gonna be nice to one another. And
yeah,
then
but we're
we
gonna.
ended up,
It's gonna be great
I think it's
because
gonna be hilarious. Like I think we should do it the way that we were talking, like say really nice things, but like say it like as if like in a
like an
mean tone.
aggressive, yeah, like compliments. Yeah, it's about like a tone. It just needs to be
Yeah.
funny. Like I don't like
Yeah, it doesn't need to
there are
be
comics that
mean.
are like, you have to be mean. It's a roast. You're roasting people, and it's like,
Like, no, we're
do
doing
I
it
look like
differently.
some kind of purist? What about me, besides my name, which means pure, says anything about being a purist?
Right.
None of it. So, and you as well. Like you see, I feel like you're a great roaster because you're not afraid to like say whatever to anybody about any of their stuff, which is great.
Yeah, because I don't really care about them that much. I like I care about
Yeah,
you as a
well,
person,
fuck that
you know,
person.
like
But you know
about
what?
you and
Like,
your
you're not
feelings
the
as a
first
person.
person though to tell me that like, no, I don't want to roast you. There have
I
been
never said
multiple people. Like, I think of three
no,
people off the top of my head. They're like, I don't know.
I never said I didn't want to roast you. I just said that I would rather do something that's complimentary because I don't really want to be somebody that's fueling a
No,
negative.
but that's what I mean. Like not like roasting meaning. I can think of three people that we know who have declined to roast me, like me, meaning like traditional roast of like, I'm gonna say mean shit about you, and I'm gonna get people to
Right.
clap about it, and I don't,
Maybe
you know,
people really like you, Katrina, and they don't want
maybe
to
they
be
don't
mean.
like me.
Maybe they do like you and they don't want to hurt your feelings because they actually care about you as a person.
I, it's probably
Well,
that.
I could say that. I
It,
don't know about
it's like,
that.
oh, everybody who could say that you didn't know me in college, you didn't know me in high school. Well, it's like I don't like to be a person that someone's gonna say mean things about. I guess like I
Right.
am always trying to like people please and like be fair and reasonable and like not impose. Um, I do try to do that, and then when I don't and when I make mistakes, like I own up to it or I'll listen and that. But yeah, like I remember there was one roast where it was like two people were like, I have no idea how to roast you, so we're gonna roast the person that you're dating instead. So that was fun for me. But
Maybe there's so much of you, Katrina, that they don't know which one of you to roast.
oh, there's a lot. Yeah, actually, it'd be funny to roast the individual ones.
That would be funny.
Which one am I talking to? Yeah, we probably shouldn't write on this, right? We should probably write after this.
We should probably write after this. Do you have to
Okay.
go anywhere after this?
No,
No?
No.
Okay. You don't have therapy or anything tonight?
I already had therapy.
Oh, okay, great.
I didn't even
Um,
cry. I cried in group therapy. I didn't cry in individual therapy today.
oh, that's good.
Have I mentioned
I
on here
didn't
that I started going to group? I don't remember.
I don't
Anyways, it's definitely
remember.
different than individual therapy. Um, I mean, like, in a lot of ways, it's harder for me because I've been in individual therapy for 10 years already. And this is like a very specific group. I won't get into it, but it's kind of interesting being around people who have had similar experiences, or have lives that are similar to yours because of whatever their experience was in the same vein, I guess you could say. Um, and sometimes I agree with people, sometimes I don't agree with people, sometimes, sometimes people say things that I realize that, oh, I didn't think about that for myself. And so it's helpful. And then there are other times where I'm like, am I really going to tell a bunch of basically strangers these, like, things that are difficult, like that I need to go to group therapy to process? But people are social beings. I'm realizing more and more and more. So it is good for me, I think, to have this aspect kind of added because it's also like helping me um, kind of um, retrieve my like power and confidence and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say because like the way the tone that you just used in the order of like, am I really gonna tell these people like what's going on? It's like, well, we have this podcast and we talk very rarely about what's going on, and whether like you're just telling it to me, like we do have other people who are listening, and I know every time that you share stuff that is actually of depth or of when we're not joking about things and you're actually talking about ways solutions, or you're talking about what you're feeling, or you're talking about ways to cope with something, like all of those things are extremely helpful to me as an individual, so I wouldn't see how you sharing stuff in group wouldn't be helpful to the people listening.
I guess it's more for me that there's this real sense of like shame, um, to talk about things that I find difficult, that to talk about things that have to do with trauma and have really impacted my life and how I view myself as a person. And it's so complex that it's confusing for me sometimes. And um, there's always just like, whenever you say anything to anyone, there's always this risk of like taking on some kind of negative judgment, even if it's just not, if it's not warranted or not. People are going to respond to anybody in any way that they want to at any given point in time. Like, that's just how everyone is, right? So,
Yeah, but you put yourself out there in the sense of look at your artwork, like take yourself as a
this
symbolism as
was,
your own
that
artwork.
was terrifying for me to share that. So, I was talking to Nicole before the podcast about this piece that I have been working on. It's not finished, but the first phase of it is finished, where it is um, permanent marker on a shower curtain. Um, and I wanted it to depict what it feels like to have ADHD. So I posted like a blurb about it on my Instagram, and then I well, I was about to post and I was like, people are gonna judge this. And then I was like, who cares? Like, I'm always so afraid of how other people view me, even though I try really not to care about it. And I'm like, no, be who you are, do whatever you want. Like, doesn't matter. Like, it's easy to say that, but it's difficult. It's difficult to put it in practice, and I know that because it's like I know what I'm supposed to be doing,
Are
but
you
it doesn't
are you
feel
more
easy.
of I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
It's okay.
interrupt you. But when you said that, like you're afraid of what people think, like do you feel like you're more afraid of what strangers are interpreting you as, or are you more afraid of the people that you know or your
Um,
family?
so I think it's, I think originally it was always like I'd be afraid of people who I know and my family and my friends because I always wanted to make people who I love proud. And I have this perfectionist in me. So if I'm not happy with something, it might look awesome to somebody and I could just be like, I'm not happy with it, so it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. But when it comes to something that does make me happy, that I'm like proud of, I have a lot of doubt about it because I've had plenty of experience of being proud, but then having it kind of but then being disappointed by the response that I get from something that I'm proud of. Whether it's like a performance or um, like like recital, like being a kid and having uh, somebody who takes care of you that has this high standard, um, and like really just I know that it's comes from a place of love. It's like, no, I know that you can be. It's like I guess it's kind of like if you think about kids who have parents who really push them to do one thing, like you're gonna be the best soccer player ever, kind of thing. But if you kind of generalize it to just be good at everything, um, it makes being proud of anything that you do makes it hard to learn how to do that. Of just like, nope, you just whatever it is, and then also like learning. Oh, it also means you can be perfect at something and still get criticism for it.
Mm-hmm.
You could get 100 on a test and then get the feedback of, okay, well, why didn't you get the extra credit? Who cares? Who cares if you get, who cares if you, who cares if you fail a test, first of all, because we need to readdress the education system and testing and biases in testing, which people don't study, people don't understand. They took a whole course on it in college about testing. Anyways, starting to see what Mandy was talking about. Very, very much about this. Um, and then, like, I really had this realization the past week of how much I let other people's expectations of me kind of run my life. And that means that I'm not getting to make my own decisions about what I want. I'm like basing it off of this external thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I am going to be trying, I am going to be doing something that I'm not used to doing, which is just like being ridiculously confident. Almost for like no good reason. Other than
Yeah.
it'll turn out better for me if I am actually not hiding myself away because I've lived a
Yeah.
life of just fear of all of that stuff.
Honestly, I just want you to know because I think this is extremely important that what your impact, like as a person, is in my life. I can't speak for other people, but for me, like you called me the other day with all this enthusiasm, and I was like, I was I wasn't in a bad mood. I wasn't in a good mood. I was in a very okay mood. And you called me, and you were like, "We're gonna be famous," and I was
Oh
like.
yeah, I was in like a mood. I was like, "That's right, we're gonna be famous."
Yeah,
I don't
like you gave me this
understand.
like pep talk. It's like, okay, and like whether like I'm putting and then I started to I was like when we were talking, I was kind of like, okay, like I'm listening, I'm hearing you. I've been here before. I've been in this manic mood. I'm like, how long is that
I
gonna last
remember saying to
for?
you like, I feel a little bit like, woohoo.
Yeah. You're like, I
Yeah.
feel a little manic right now, and you're like, and you went through your feelings and you were saying, I don't want to divulge too much on what you said on everything because that was our private conversation. But needless to say, it motivated me in a way that was like, okay, you know what? Like those thoughts and those things that she was talking about, like I once felt those things. I once was in that mindset. I was once in a place that like that radical self acceptance of like no matter
Yeah.
what, like it's good. Like no matter what, like it's gonna be good. Like I
Yeah.
don't need to work. I don't need to stress. I've always been an extremely fearless person when it came to like
Yeah.
being in front of people, talking, doing like I've had a ridiculous amount of confidence in my life that
I feel like
like
you would do
whatever
literally anything in public.
I would do anything in public. The only where I'm insecure and where my moments of like, oh my God, I'm scared and I'm nervous is when it comes to the closest people to my heart and who I
Mm.
love the most. Those people is who I care what they think of me, who they am I making them proud? Do you like my closest core people, it's like are if they're okay, like are you okay? Like what can I do to make you feel better? And if it means that I have to
Yeah.
sacrifice myself in order to do that, I won't do the thing that I'll do in public to be crazy and funny and silly because I don't want to make you uncomfortable and you're more important to me than me getting attention for a few minutes. So
And
like
that's like, but
that's
that's, do you feel like that's because of the way you view what it means to be like intimacy? Not like to be intimate with someone, but like have that real sense of like home?
yes. And I do feel like, it took me a solid year to realize like I'm not great in relationships. Like I'm just not. I'm not good in them. And I think this past year, my boyfriend and I, we've been spending a lot of time. You obviously know his name is Brian, but like other people who are listening, like we spent a lot of time like getting to know each other this year, and it took me a full year to like finally feel like I can like relax
I
and
was
be
gonna say,
myself. Like
and
relax
not
and
be like,
actually let yeah, like what am I doing? Am I
hi.
doing anything okay? Am I right? Is it like it's been a year now and I'm like, okay, I want to have fun. Like I've learned you, you've
Yeah, why can't
learned
we just
me,
have
like
fun? Just want to
yeah,
have
like
fun
it
now.
it wasn't though. Like and I don't know where it got lost in it. I think I was so afraid of my crazy life being like too much for him to handle. But
Okay.
it's not my person that is it's not my way of life that is too much for him to handle. It's my way of expressing my negative thoughts to him in a way that's not supportive to myself or to him, which was too much. And that was something that I
Mm.
needed to separate the idea of because I thought my whole person was too much for him. The way that I am
Oh,
is too much for him. But it's not. It
yeah.
was the way I was communicating with him was
But
too
also, like,
much.
you really worked on your relationship with yourself,
Correct.
and
But
like, you
until
need that first.
I totally do, but he's also somebody who like does not even give me a remote, like there's no putting up with my shit. Like if I want to pick a fight with you at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, like he's gonna be like, get the fuck out of my face. I'm not putting up with your shit right now. And I love that. I'm like, oh, cool. Like you have a backbone, like you're gonna be like, shut the fuck up. And I need somebody to tell me to shut the fuck up sometimes. Like I do. And like he does that. And I need somebody to put me in my place at times, and he does that because I will try to see how far I can go to see like when are you going to push back, and he pushes back. So I'm like, all right. And now we've gotten to a year of this, and I'm like today, like a few months ago, I would have never sent him me dancing, doing something silly in the car, and being like, "Oh God, he's gonna think I'm crazy. He's gonna judge this. He's doing like." And then today, like the thong song came on, and I like was dancing to it, and then I sent him something and a line to it, and he's like, "You're funny, babe. I love you." And then
Aw,
um, it
so
was cute,
nice.
and yeah. But he wrote ILU in it, so then of course I was like, I voice recorded. I'm like,
Ew.
what is this? I'm like, what is this ILU abbreviation shit? I'm like, spell out I love you.
Tell me you love me.
Tell me you love me.
Do you know that song,
And
that Demi Lovato song? Tell me you love me.
I don't know
It's
it.
so good. Oh, tell me you love me. I need someone on days like this. Do on days like this. Oh, can you hear my heart say, ooh,
I'm
ooh,
gonna have to do
ooh,
it, but
ooh.
yeah, tell me you
It's
love
fun.
me. I mean, he did say, he's like, I'm sorry. I'm like, I'm in the middle of doing all these things right now. And I'm like, the time that you're taking to explain this fucking sentence to me, you could have just wrote back, I love you. Like, that's
Well,
it.
that's I
Like,
love you.
you don't need to explain why you didn't write it. Just fucking write it.
So,
But like the way that I'm joking about this with you right now,
yeah.
like he would take that personally. So like I have to like I've learned like okay, I can't joke about that with you right now because like you're busy and his headspace is like on what he's doing. So for me to like try and joke about that with him, it's like now is not the time.
I can't
But
do
like
this
later,
right now. Wait,
right?
this
But later
reminds.
on,
What is it from? Is it from The Office or something? I feel like I remember something where somebody's standing somewhere and they're saying like, "This is not a good time for this," and I can't remember what it is, but when I remember it, I'll let you know. It might be at 4
okay,
a.m. sometime. So,
that's fine. You can just text me. I'll be like, oh okay.
that happens though for me. Like, I'll be like,
Yeah.
"It was this."
I know. I've been literally trying to think of this French person's
And now I
name
remember
for
it.
like, what is it?
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, when Joel is trying to get
Oh,
Clementine out of this. I think it was. I think it was in Massachusetts, and they're trying to get out of there. It's like, oh no no, yes, no, it was in Montauk, and they were on
mm,
the beach in the snow, and she's trying to play with him, and she covers his face with snow, and he sits up, and he's like, "This is not a good time for this."
right.
Whew,
Yeah,
glad I remember that. It
exactly.
would bother me for the rest of
Like, but
ever.
yes, that's a perfect situation. That was a perfect analogy or
So I have a
movie
question
scene.
then. So when someone doesn't say "I love you" to you, and you expect them to say it, is that like a painful thing?
It is because it's like, why am I not worth spelling out the words I love you? Like, why do you have to abbreviate that?
Yeah.
Like, on a deeper level of it, it's like you wrote "You're so funny, babe." ILU. Like you wrote You're so funny, babe." Like why does that part get shortened? Like I don't get that.
I mean, I understand what you mean, but
I mean, the
I
more I turned around,
also I feel
I
like
found
though
like
that with some people that sometimes it's hard to say certain words, and like you kind of need to like ease into it almost in other ways. But I mean, you guys tell each other that you love each other.
yeah,
I'm just don't look at me like that. Like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Like we say it, like fucking spell it, and then you write another whole little blurb of like why you can't say it right now because you're in the middle of being busy and doing something. Like now you've pissed me off. Like now
well,
I'm
but
fucking
yeah, but
mad.
like, I see if it were me, I'm just being playing devil's advocate a little bit for that.
Go ahead.
Of just like, I would be like, I would be like, I don't want to say it because you're like forcing me to. It's like, oh, I'm showing you this way. I'm showing you in this way I love you. This is what I can do right now. And then it becomes like, well, I'm going to say it when I want to say it, you know?
Right. And I get that, but it's like also from the other person's perspective, it's like, well, I'm teaching you the way that I want to be cared for. Like, respect that also.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm asking you for like, something like that, as simple as it is something that makes, I know it sounds probably crazy, like ILU, it's like, okay, I know what it stands for, I know what it means, but it makes me feel like I'm not worth you spelling the actual meaning of it
Oh,
out to me. Like,
okay.
I would never abbreviate my love for anybody that I really love.
Ooh, write it down. Don't abbreviate your love.
Don't fucking abbreviate your love. Like that's how I feel. And it's like when I'm in that space, it's like that's I guess that's me and I can't expect everybody to do what I do and I can't expect like what like if you do something, you can't expect others to do that as well. So like I need to know that him writing that is like his way of being, but like at the same time, it's like we're only here for a short trip for numerous amount of times around this fucking sun. Like, be generous with your loves and your I love yous when you
Yeah. I
meet.
really do.
Yeah.
I feel like that. I like to tell people who feel comfortable with me and like are close to me and my family and that like I like for the last thing that I for people to hear from me to be I love you.
Yeah.
And
And I say it all the time.
yeah.
And I don't know if it maybe to some people it loses its meaning by being said that many times. I could understand how somebody in a perspective be like, you say it all the time, like it doesn't mean anything special at this point. But like to me, it's like I know my why I'm saying it and I know what I'm saying. Like so, like
Yeah. I get
you know,
that. I definitely get
whether
that.
you want to accept it at that moment or not, that doesn't even matter. It's like I'm saying it because this is how I feel, and this is want you to know. Like fucking, I love you. Like I love you, Katrina. So,
I love you.
yeah.
Um
So yeah, I
yeah,
guess I'm a little
I get
happy
it.
when I love yous. And it's also like, what the fuck else? I'm not asking you to buy me fucking trips to anywhere. Like I'm just asking you not to
Why don't you
abbreviate I
just tell
love
me that you
you.
love me?
Yeah, like shit.
That reminds me too of well, we haven't been able to do a podcast for a few weeks because I've been ill and the holidays were crazy.
Yeah,
But
and I was
you were sick, and so during New Year's, and I guess it was like a day or within the couple days after New Year's, I watched uh,
don't look up.
Don't Look Up. Thank you.
Yeah.
I watched Don't Look Up on New Year's,
And I watched it too.
and then I recommended you to watch, and we had different reactions. I had the reaction of, oh, okay, all that makes sense.
Well, spoiler alert, if like
Okay,
right? Like
spoiler alert, and then just skip ahead 1 minute, and I'll make sure that we don't have any spoilers between right
okay.
now and a minute. So go. So basically, most people at the end die, or everyone that doesn't have a lot of money dies, right? And I enjoyed that. Like I was like, yep, this is how the world's gonna go, and you didn't feel like that.
No, I felt like I know at the end of the day, like regardless of what we do, what we say, what we don't say, what anything happens, it was like I had more anxiety about who I was gonna have around my table at the end of the
At
movie.
the
They
apocalypse,
at the apocalypse, like having dinner with six people around you, like who are those six people that I'm
15
gonna be
seconds,
hold
and
hands with?
I was kind of like my feeling on it was, oh yeah, like I guess it's when you live a life that you are like, you know what, it can end at any time. Um, you live differently, but it also matters, like if you care or not. Like I lived for so long, in terms of like I don't really care if I make it, you know, um, that I wasn't so um, it didn't it didn't make me feel like upset. And we passed the spoiler minute. Um,
Okay.
but I thought it was interesting though, because you did have like a very different reaction.
Yeah, I wanted to feel like I wanted to make sure that the people that I'm going to be sitting around the table with at the last moments of my life are people that I genuinely feel have my best interest and believe in me and believe in each other. And no matter how long or short that we've known each other, like feel loved. Like these
Mm-hmm.
were the people that there was still love amongst them. And I guess also I feel like Like, no matter what happens, you could speak your truth. You can shout it into the roof, into the television. You can be corrupted. You can be denied. You can be uh, deceited. You can be there. Every aspect of life that can possibly exist, it doesn't fucking matter. At the end of the day, it doesn't
Mm-mm.
fucking matter. You don't have any real control anyway. Not, it's all
Yeah.
fucking gonna happen. It's gonna happen regardless. And I know that, and that's not what I had the problem with. It was really the anxiety that I had was how am I going to get the people that I love the most around each
In the
other
same room.
in that in the same room in the last hour of my death. In the last
No
hour of
matter
my
how you
death,
go.
no matter how I go, if it were away, no matter it's a meteor or whatever, like the last hour of my death, how is it spent? How am I spending that last hour? And if it could be at any given moment, I need to fucking stop complaining and I need to stop like having shitty days and stop spending so much time like worrying about everything and thinking that I'm not good enough or this because the last hour of my day or the last hour of my life could be this last hour. You know what I mean? Which I swear and I hope God doesn't happen. But
Of
like at
course.
least
Because of course that would happen once I want to become this goddess. So I'm trying
I
to
mean,
refer to myself as
I'm not putting that to say, but like
ego.
making the last hour of your life worth something. And it's like, did you want to be that person that got cut off and you in traffic and like got mad about it the whole time? Or like, do you want to be that person that's like, oh, go ahead, like, and add more good flow into the
Mm-hmm.
mix of it. And I feel like this last year has just been like, Grumpy Nicole. That was a weird burp. And I don't want to be in that anymore. Like I
Mm-hmm.
just don't. I don't want to live my life in the last hour being something regretful. And I just want to be happier.
I mean, do you feel like you're living in a regretful way? I
Today,
guess I'm trying to like get at like okay, pretend that this is the last hour. Like we only have an hour left. There's a meteor about to hit the earth. Oopsie
right?
doopsie. Now what?
Like I would have to
Wouldn't that be
call.
so crazy though if like a meteor just like that was the end of the podcast?
That was the end of
See,
the
I would think that's
podcast.
so funny. I think it's so
Oh
funny.
no, it is. It's hilarious. It would be great. I would love that this would be the last hour because it's fucking iconic and it's ironic and it's perfect and it's like how can this is like everything is like pew, 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 pew. Like
It's like, all right,
it's that.
I guess I got what I
But no,
wanted.
like I'm not against that, but I guess like I don't know. I guess it could be it's at any given
like it
moment.
sounds like you're not ready to die at any point in time.
Because I feel like I don't think I'm ever gonna die.
Well, you are gonna die.
No, I know. I know my physical body is
Your
going to
physical
die.
body is going to die at some point.
My physical body is going to die at some point. But I don't think that I feel like my energy is going to live.
Okay,
And the impact
so then why would you be so afraid that you wouldn't find those people that you were with the next round? I'm just curious because I'm ready to die at any point. And I know that like confuses people when I say that because it's like, well, if I did, then why am I? It's also kind of like, well, why don't you do more risky things, or why don't you? It's not that
because
I want to test it. It's just like if somebody came in here with a shot of, I don't know, whatever poison you want, I'd be like, okay. It's so easy for me to just be like, okay, well, I would try to fight for it. I would try to fight. Like, well, I don't want to. But and then say I get stabbed with the syringe, like there would be no fear. If at that moment it's like, oh, I'm gonna die right now, then I would be able to let it go. It might be because I've had that experience before of like, I'm about to die.
Right.
So, do I want to die freaking out? No. I don't want to
I
become a
mean, that's,
ghost.
I mean, there was a moment where like the nearest I've had like the near death experiences that I've had were when my house got broken into and I was held at gunpoint. And I was like, okay, like it was a few days before my birthday. And I was like, my thought was, I'm going to be, my parents are going to bury me on my birthday. Like that was the
Ugh.
thought that I had. And I was like, oh my God. And I was like in it. And then
Mm-hmm.
it was over. Like it all happened. And then it was, the person was dead in our kitchen. And like I started laughing.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately just started hysterically laughing. And I was not funny at all, but like my first instinct was to
Yeah.
laugh. And
Yeah. I
I,
mean, it's
it
almost
makes,
kind of like, oh, this is so awful. Like you come like full circle. Like that's what I
yeah,
feel like when it's like that kind of like laugh of like it's not funny. It's like it's
yeah.
not funny, and that's why I'm
It's,
laughing. There's
like,
nothing
this
else I
is
can
not
do.
anything else I can do right
Your
now but
body's like, is
laugh
this
because
right? Is this right?
like, is this real? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just
I
started
laughed. I mean,
laughing
when
at
the plane was falling out of the sky, I was laughing, and then I like forced
yeah,
myself to not laugh because my brother was panicking. Um,
right.
but
I don't
yeah,
know. I guess
I mean,
again, when I tell you I'm fearless when it comes to certain things, it's not that I'm necessarily afraid of dying. I'm petrified of the idea of having to bury the people I love. That
or being
frightens me
buried
more than,
by the people who love you.
what do you mean?
Well, you were saying like, oh, my parents are gonna have to bury me on my birthday. Like you were thinking of your parents in that moment.
Yeah, like I don't ever like I'm not thinking about like if that I was thinking about them having to go through that pain.
I
And
also think it's
then
kind of funny. It's like, oh my birthday. I
yeah, like but my birthday.
love that. No, this
No,
is gonna totally ruin my birthday.
like, literally though, my birthday is such a big deal to me. Like
I know
that
you love
would
your
happen.
birthday.
Like yeah, like fuck, man. Like
It's like,
really,
wait, do
like
you
it's
want to come
kind
to my party? Oh, this is gonna be a roast joke.
of yeah, so I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Death and I have a weird relationship. Like it depends on my mood, I think. It depends on what state of mind I'm in. Like some days I'm like, I don't care about dying. And then I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to ever lose anybody I love because I love you guys so fucking much that like I don't even know how to handle that.
Yeah. I mean, I have thought about it a lot. You know, that all those aspects of it, and the Mouse of Silver episode of the show on Netflix, Midnight Gospel, my favorite show ever, really put to words a feeling that I understood. That hearing it, I was like, ah, oh, that's why. And it was essentially, spoiler for this episode, Duncan is speaking with his mother, who's has a terminal illness, and she's a psychologist, and she's talking about grief, and so like he's talking to his mother, like interviewing about what it feels like and what that process is, but also like trying to come to terms with the reality of like, oh, my mother's gonna die like sooner rather than later, but I'm gonna die too. Everyone's gonna die. So how do you handle that? And she has this like really beautiful answer where essentially she makes the point that the love that you have, no matter how much or how far, how much distance or time or anything like that, like it doesn't like just because somebody dies, it doesn't mean that it goes away. It just
Right.
changes its form. And
Which
I really love
totally
that.
that totally makes sense. And it's also a matter of like and this is something that I do while I'm well, people that I love are alive. That and I hope they stay here for a long time. But it's like I like to take my favorite aspects of my favorite people,
Excuse me.
live them out loudly. and like the things that I admire about other people or things that I think are funny or certain things like I'll do an imitate. I'll be like, oh, my dad would say this in this moment, or if like, oh, this is my mom that would say that, or like my best friend would say this. Like, even while they're very much here, I speak of them in a way that is like I'm living why they're so amazing in my life to other people. Like, oh, like these are the fun things that I think of
Yeah.
them. So I'm speaking as if they're, you
Do you
know,
think that? So here's a question: have you lost anyone who is close to you that you do stuff like that? Like, oh, this is what so and so would do in this moment. Have you lost someone?
I lost my friend Kristen when I was 19. We were really, really close, and she was murdered. And when
It's
we
awful.
were,
I'm so sorry.
yeah, thank you. That was really shitty. That her and my Aunt Marie, who I was really, really close to, my Aunt Marie was my godmother, and I was super tight to her. And when they both passed, those were the two biggest death impacts that I've ever experienced that made me like, I just want them to be, I just want to live and remember them. Like, this is my, like, my Aunt Marie's
Yeah.
little thing right next to my thing here. Like,
Aw.
my friend Kristen's tattoo. This is her handwriting, like, on my arm that I see every day. Like, I have flowers on my back from my aunt. Like, I talk about them all the time still. Like, with my other friends,
Mhm.
like, I'll talk, oh, if Kristen were here, she would be doing this right now. Or, like, if Aunt Marie were here, like, she would be doing that. Like,
Yeah.
I keep them very much alive, but like losing those two people taught me that like I don't want to wait until somebody's dead to honor who they are.
Yeah. That's really
You
beautiful.
know? Yeah. So that's why I guess I take it really personally when ILU gets abbreviated because I'm like
Yeah.
I'm fucking like I'm here right now. Like
Yeah.
don't take it for granted. Like don't take me for granted. Like don't take any of this for granted.
Yeah.
Like it
And I'm kind of from the kind of camp of I never want to regret not doing something, um, or not saying something. Um, like I lost my cousin to heroin overdose, and that was a few years ago. Michelle, or me, I would call her Mishi, and I definitely, regret not reaching out to her more, and I miss her. And it's like it's weird to miss someone when they passed away, right? Because it's like, oh, I miss them, but and they're not coming back. So it's like, oh, so then why don't you just stop missing them? Like there's a logic there, right? A little bit. It's like, well, because like I love this person and I want to share things with them. But it's like, oh, but I mean, you can. It's just different. But it's like grief is such a weird thing
it is a weird
in
thing,
general.
and it's because it's interesting that you're saying that now too, because it's like when I do think about my friend Kristen and my Aunt Marie, like I still very much so talk to them as if they're still here.
Yeah.
Like I talk to them as still, I'll be like, I'll go to the cemetery or I'll be in my kitchen. I'll be like, Kristen, I'm like, I fucking need you to just send me a sign right now. Or I need like, da da
Yeah.
da da, like, thing. And like, something will happen. And I'll be like, okay, like, there they are. Like, I'm not alone. Like,
Yeah.
it's just a matter of asking for them to reassure you, too. And they
Right.
do.
And not doubting it.
Yeah.
I think that's also part of it. It's like if there's love and you doubt love, it makes it hard to move past things. I think it's a very high concept that I don't think we have enough
Yeah.
time to explore it.
No, we
We have
don't.
5 minutes. Maybe we shouldn't
Yeah,
be talking about things about that are very difficult. 5 minutes left in the podcast, but also we can talk as long as we want until the meteor hits us. So,
that's true. We could stay here forever.
oh
But
no.
yeah,
But yeah,
I
and
feel
I don't want to be a ghost. I'm sorry, but I can't move on from this. I don't
Yeah,
want
go ahead.
to. Excuse me. I don't want to be. Okay. I don't want to be a ghost for like
At all?
a stupid reason. So I think that this is funny. I think this could be a funny bit at some point. The argument that somehow debt saved my life because I was in debt from being in school. Like I had a scholarship, but not a full scholarship, and I had school debt. So I had student loans that my parents had co-signed on, and I was like, all right, well, I can't leave because I have to pay off my student loans so that my parents won't incur my debt. Because you know how mad I would be if I killed myself and then became a ghost and then I still have to pay off my student loans? Like, no,
That's so
I'm
funny.
not doing that.
I
I wouldn't be
literally
able.
saw a meme today that was like, I'd be so pissed if we died and then there was like ghost jobs. Like I had to work
Oh
at
my
the ghost
gosh.
post office.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
That's great.
like imagine like you have a message from one of your people downstairs. They
Yeah.
want you
If
to
you
do what?
die when you're dead, then you're. What is it? Imagine being a. Oh my gosh. Being a ghost
Imagine
would
work.
be.
I feel like they
Love to
do work.
ghosts. Love to ghosts.
Love to ghosts, but
Love
like
to
I
ghosts.
talk to my ghosts all the time, so they got to be working a
Oh,
little
yeah.
bit, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's funny. So where are we at? Our,
Excuse me.
we time?
We still have 3.5 minutes. But, I mean,
Okay.
yeah. Um, call me whatever you want, but, like, we don't understand everything in the universe, so.
I
Like
don't understand
air?
it.
Can you explain air to me? How can I see through air? How is air see through? I want to understand, you see? Because if it's filled with things, why can I see through those things? You know?
Right.
But,
Yeah. It's gas, I guess.
yeah, like,
Got
what
it.
is gas? What is gas?
Uh,
But, like, I think about this stuff like, if you ever just see me sitting like, I'm thinking things like, what is gas? Like, what does it mean for something to be solid? Yeah, I mean, like, I know what it means. Like, oh, this is how the molecules are arranged. This is how the atoms are arranged. But, like, there's forces and matter. And it's everywhere. All the time. It's in me. I am it. We are in it. Everything is touching each other, in theory. Because we exist in this universe. Which is
yeah.
a really creepy thought. And that
You
what
know,
makes me...
we were talking about this one day. Who was it? Me and my friend Alexa, I think. Like, okay, so
The butterfly effect?
no, like the Earth weighs a certain amount, right?
Yeah.
Like, does
Excuse me.
does the weight of the Earth ever really change because the amount of materials that is already on the Earth is the only amount is the amount of material that's on the Earth already. So like,
Well, yes. Oh, because, like, dust and space stuff, like, we are getting impacted from things. We do
Okay.
very, very minutely increase in size.
okay, curious. It's like,
But
does
we
that,
will
like,
never lose the water on Earth.
I hope not.
All the water is here so far.
Yeah,
We might
need,
have too much water really soon.
well, hopefully not on Long Island and it never gets
Oh my
flooded
God.
and we know.
Yes, in Long Island it's good. Okay.
Shut
We don't have enough time to talk about this, but
up!
we're gonna need to move within like 5 years. You realize that, right? We're gonna have to move unless we want to live on houseboats. Which, well, you know what time it is.
Time's over. I'm not ready to think about it.
Time's over. The meteor is striking right now. Any last words? Oh, that's what. Oh, last words. My last words. I'm gonna die laughing. First of all, I'll be like, "Oops," and they'll die.
Do I have any last words?
These are your practice last words of life. You have 40
All
seconds.
right.
You have 20 seconds.
Uh, okay. My last
15.
words are. I hope these are not my last words.
End quote. Stephen Wright joke. All right, but this has been Unstructured and Unsupervised. Thanks for watching. See y'all next week.
Toodaloo.
Bye.
Bye.